That's just like the biggest buzzkill, isn't it? We're recording in progress. And everybody has to press their dang button. Okay, so I am super excited. We just got back from such an amazing trip to Tennessee, and it was everything and more that I expected. And just I love meeting new people. And I feel like this was a trip where it was probably the trip where I didn't know the most people that I've been on in a long time. And it was so fun meeting new people and getting energy from new people, and just the dynamic. God always aligns perfectly the people who he places there. And for all of you guys who couldn't come, it makes me sad, but I know I will see you next time when we have the event. So I just want to start out and kind of introduce you to some people who were there, and maybe just hear some of their aha moments about what they learned, and what their takeaways what were from the time that they spent, and just understanding that it is such a cool experience when you make time and make the investment to come to an event like this. So I'm going to start with Courtney. Where are you, Courtney?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so I want you to share a little bit about when you joined, where your business is at, and what your biggest takeaway was from this weekend.
So I joined about a year and a half ago. Um, I had built up to Diamond, currently sitting probably not even close to Ruby. So my biggest aha moment was like going and like having all of these people from different backgrounds and like being able to make friends with so many people that I didn't even know were in the business. And just like all of us being able to connect on like a personal level. There wasn't like a whole lot of discussions about ranks and like feeling like somebody was higher or lower or anything. Like we were all just able to connect, and that was like so huge for me. I think I answered all your questions.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think it's so true, because I think sometimes people go to the events and like be like, oh my gosh, well, this person's going to be there. And yeah, nobody said their rank one time this weekend. And more so when I said, tell people where you're at in the business, like mentally where you're at. I think it's more of like, you know, figuring out that, and then kind of having a takeaway from where you want to go. Like, okay, so using this as like a springboard, where do you want to go? What renewed vision do you have for your business after this weekend?
So before this trip, I had like stepped away, taken some time off from the business. I had a lot of personal things happen, and I just like mentally, I had to focus on my life outside of the business and kind of get my head right there for a little bit. So this like trip was like really refreshing for me to like be able to dream again. Like I wasn't doing that before. I wasn't like focusing on the business like at all before, and so I was able to go and start dreaming and start thinking about myself and the goals that I have set for me. So I am a full-time social worker, but like long term, I do want to be a stay-at-home mom. And this business can allow that for me and for my son. So
I love it. I love it. And I love your heart. And I'm so proud of you and all of your growth. It's literally been so incredible to watch. So thank you so much for sharing. I so appreciate it. Okay, Tara, I'm gonna go to you next. Where are you, sister? Let me see if I can find you.
I think, does it have me unmuted?
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So tell us a little bit about where you are, where you were before going into this weekend, and how long you've been in the business, and what you want to do after this weekend.
Okay, so I came into this weekend probably off of the roughest like 3 or 4 months I've had. I dropped really far down in rank in August, like received my lowest paycheck I have in a long time, and probably was just at like my breaking point where I was like, okay, this is either I'm gonna come off of this stronger or it's going to like take me out all the way. Like I was at a very big breaking point and knew I needed to really just realign with my own goals. And I've been in the company since April of 2019, so about 2.5 years. And really just this weekend just kind of showed me, like your rank doesn't determine your success. That was probably my biggest takeaway. And everybody's on their own timeline. So just because, I've been in like 2.5 years and I'm not where I want to be at with, my rank and everything, it's like not really about the rank. It's more like the impact that you're making. And I loved that about this weekend. We didn't talk about rank. And I think the one time I talked about rank with anybody, I was like, wait, like it was almost like this mind-blowing moment, because it was like you look at some people and you start getting in comparison because you mentally assume that they are further than you just because of the way they hold themselves. And then it's not the case. And you're like, whoa, like I would have assumed. And I don't know. I think we get too caught up in like the numbers and the rank and the title behind it. And you stop thinking as much about like the impact you've made on the individuals. So
I
hope I
love
answered your
that.
questions
No,
with
that
that.
is like it's so good, because I think so often you're right. Like we're like beating ourselves up because like we're in our volume isn't where you want it to be, or our recruitments and like how many people we've brought into the business or how many customers we've signed and blah 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 blah. And we start focusing on all of these things that are going to ebb and flow as you're in the business, right? They're going to ebb and flow. They're going to go up, they're going to go down. It's going to be a different seasons. But the one thing that can be consistent is how you carry yourself and who you are as a person, and just obviously growing in that. So I love that. What do you feel like you would say to somebody who maybe was nervous to go on a trip, or is nervous, hasn't gone on one? What would you say to them about going on a trip?
Really just the impact that comes out of like connecting with people who are where you want to go. Like you're never going to regret doing that. It is some of the best moments when you look at, or when you just sit and you have a conversation with these people that you see on social media who have, maybe you've not gotten a chance to connect with, like Erin. I think for the longest time when I first was in the company, I don't even know if I want to say like I was afraid to like come to her and ask her questions, but like you look at where she's at and it's almost like you stop seeing her as a real person. So when you're having a conversation with her right then, the impact that has on you mentally, it's like these are real people. Like everyone who went, it's real. And you just see that at one time they were sitting where you're at. So you have to surround yourself with people who are where you want to go.
Oh, so good. That's so good. Thank you so much for that. I so appreciate it. Okay, Danielle. Hi, sister. Where are you?
I'm here.
Hi. What's up?
How are you guys?
Good. Thank you so much for sharing. I am so excited to hear from you. And I think Courtney, this was her second event, but Tara, was this your first like retreat type event that you had gone to?
So
Sorry, go
okay.
ahead.
So I had been to like the last in-person like conference we had in Tampa
Okay.
in 2020, but past that, this was the first like smaller one I'd gotten to.
Okay. Awesome. I love that. Okay. Danielle, go ahead. And was this your first event?
This was my first event.
Okay. Okay. So share all the things. Tell us all of the things.
So I joined a little over a year ago. And I'll be completely honest, like I didn't know what to expect like when I got there, especially with like that many women under one house. So I was like super nervous and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be such an outcast, like compared to like what I've seen on y'all's profiles and stuff like that. And I was like, that's kind of just not how I am. So I felt like I was going to be like the odd one out the whole weekend. But getting there, and even like just first getting there and meeting people, like everybody was just so friendly and like welcoming and like just making you feel like you're not an outcast, you're the same as them. Which was like really, for me, was like a big relief. And then when we were like talking and everything, and I found out like a lot of people have like the same backstory as I do and how I felt, it made me even feel even better. So I was able to like relax a lot over the weekend, even though we had a lot going on with the conference and everything. I was able to like decompress, even though everything was going on. You know, I'm a mom of 2 boys. I stay home. I'm in the middle of a renovation, if you guys can't tell. But prior to the conference, you know, I was like really down. Like my mindset was just not good at all. You know, I just kept telling myself, you got to make it to conference. You got to make it to conference. Cause like the last few months, I haven't been able to do like host a post. Like my host posts haven't been working. My network has been like complete poop. And Amanda and I have been trying to like work on getting a better network. You know, honestly, I hold myself responsible for that because I wasn't messaging. I was doing everything else but messaging. So coming back from this conference, I was like, I want this. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, my mindset has completely changed in a way. Like yesterday, I was so dead tired from flying home and everything like that, but I still got 6 host to post up. I did all the work. My stories were full. I posted 4 times yesterday, you know, making sure there was 2 to 4 hours in between each post, so it didn't mess up my algorithm. Today I've done the same exact thing. I'm about to post my product post because this morning I started with business. So I alternate every day, but my mindset has just been completely changed to the point where I was telling my neighbor about the trip and she's like, I'm just feeling your vibe. Like, your vibe is just coming off so strong that you just relaxed and had a fantastic time. So, but yeah, and it was so great meeting all of you and making new friends. And I just felt so amazing to be around all of you. And I can't wait for the next event or conference.
I love it. And it's like so funny, isn't it? It's like so crazy because you hear everybody say like, get around people who inspire you and you're like, yeah, sounds good or whatever. But then like when you feel the energy, it's so contagious. Like it's so like, oh my gosh, like it's not just cool to say. It doesn't sound just cute to say. Like it's actually a real thing. Because you get it, you energy is so contagious. Like it's so contagious. And I think that one of the things that you're experiencing is like the reality of like we all put our pants on the same way, and like I actually saw them put their pants on, not actually, but you know what I'm saying, like you actually like saw everybody like in the morning like doing their coffee or whatever the case might be, and just saying like, wow, their process is the same and they're successful and I want to be a part of this. You know what I'm saying? I think so often we're like weighing it based on the money, and we're like so often so caught up in like our checks and is it worth the time I'm putting in? And it's like the check is insignificant compared to the person that you want to become, right? Like the check is the check will come after you start increasing your vibe in general. And I think not you, but everybody, right? And so I think that understanding that these events help you see the vision of who you want to be even more clearly, not just where you want to be in your business or what rank you want to be, but who as a person you want to be. Like, I want to be a person that inspires somebody, or I want to be a person that can help X number of people, or whatever. You get to sense that. And I think that that's a really cool experience. And so I'm so glad you came, and I'm so glad we were able to go bear hunting together. And I'm so glad that we had just so many fun experiences. And I think that I know so many people can relate to where you were at right before this, but just understanding the power of like knowing you're not alone. You know, you're not alone. You hear other people talk about the harder times in their businesses and realize like it's not me. It's just a season that I'm going through. It's not who I am.
Well, and also like my household's like a lot of negative people. So I think it was just like feeding on me. And then I got around all these positive people and it just like made me realize like I don't want to go back there.
Mm.
So I'm like ching ching, like no negativity, like positive vibes only. And then if it becomes negative, take myself out of that situation. So only positive minds. And as Mark said, no more excuses.
I love that.
I'm going to climb. Believe in me.
I love that so much. I'm so proud of you. Keep killing it, and just know that like you're just on your way to just something so amazing. Okay, Miss Amanda, where are you? Amanda Hackinson. Let me find you.
Hola. I hope y'all can hear me.
Oh yes, hi, sister.
I
Okay,
miss all your beautiful faces. It's weird seeing you back on the screens.
I know. It's so much better in person.
So for me, I started this business almost a year ago. It'll be a year in November. And I definitely, prior to the trip, I was definitely feeling like I wasn't where I should be in the business, you know, based on my timeline and everything like that. But I think for me, the biggest reason I wanted to go on the trip and like made it a point to do it was to feel the support, because I don't necessarily have the support at home. Um, so like for me, I was in probably the lowest points of like I got a college degree, I did all the things, had a good job, had to leave that job, moved home, and kind of just like my whole life started. I got engaged, we had a house, all the things. And when I started to feel like I had a job, I had a decent paying job, I still have that job right now, but it was like it wasn't cutting it. If I had to, you know, sit here and budget every month for like $100 in groceries or $200 in groceries, like that was just absurd to me. Like, why are we struggling? So I found Emily and we instantly connected. And I said, it has to work. It has to happen for me. So when recently, over the last 3 months of summer, my team totally fell apart and I was pouring myself into people that might not have been so gung ho about it or could catch the vision. And I was draining my energy in the process. So now starting with a clean slate, it's almost a breath of fresh air. And I needed the trip to like fill my cup back up and like feel like I wasn't alone in any of it. So my biggest takeaway was it gave me permission to believe in myself that I can do it. And my dreams are just as important as everybody else's, whether they're big or small. And sometimes my small dream of, you know, renovating our kitchen is just as big as somebody else's of building their house or paying off their car or whatever it may be. So never feel like your dream or goals are too small or not big enough.
I love that. Gave you permission to believe in yourself. That is so good. I think that so often we feel like, well, why would I believe in myself because of, you know, this X, Y, or Z, or like I haven't shown up in a week. Why would I believe in myself? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we are so quick to be so defeating, but recognizing that like we aren't perfect. Like you don't have to be perfect to be successful at this business. You just have to be willing to show up. You know, just show up. And if you don't show up one day, just can choose to show up the next day. Like the amazing thing is your people's dreams, what no matter how clear or unclear they are, they're important. But you have to uncover them. And the way you uncover them is by continuing to step because bigger dreams will be revealed, but you have to be faithful with the first step. So I love that. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe is nervous to go? And then I'll ask you the next question.
I would say just do it because I was terrified. I've done a lot of other conference type trips with 4-H and my background there.
But I don't think I was ever as nervous to be in a house of 30 plus women in my entire life. But I just told myself, I started this business and got out of my comfort zone. So taking that step and making the decision to go on the trip was just another step to do that. And I knew that no matter what happened, I was going to come out a better person because of it. And getting to meet all the people that throughout this whole journey of my business that has poured into me through Zoom calls or whatever, getting to meet them in person and finally putting like the connection together. I will forever cherish all that.
I love it. Okay, what is one thing that you hope to get out of any next event?
Oh boy. I think on the next one, my biggest hope to take away is, you know, being proud that I've crushed the goals that I've set, and achieved the path that I want to succeed in.
I love that. Like showing up, like being like, yeah, I went from this to this since we last met. That's awesome. I love that. That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing. And I appreciate you showing up. Like I just am so grateful that you came this weekend, because I know that you blessed so many people just by being there. So I appreciate it. Sarah, I know you didn't say you were going to talk, but I'm calling you out.
Girl, who do you think you are? Just kidding.
Yeah, I see you over there. If your video's on, you free bait.
What's up?
So I want you to share a little bit about your experience this past weekend, and how you're feeling now.
Cool. So I'm Sarah. I've been in the business for 13 months. This was definitely my first conference. So I was most excited, just because, like everyone else kind of said, you're constantly like connecting with these people, but you're either just sending like a text or you're watching them speak through Zoom. And as close as I felt to people, it's really crazy to actually meet them in person, because it's, no matter how close you felt through message, like there's nothing like a real life connection, and just everything about it. Like it was just, I was so excited to go. I like want to go back now. But it definitely helped, because it gets your mindset right. Like I personally like wasn't super down about my business, but even leaving there, I feel super hyped, and I just like can't wait to just keep going. Like I came home and I was super tired too. My kids went to bed and my husband was like, "Oh, let's, hang out." And I'm like, I want to work. Like, I'm so excited. I just want to work. You know what I mean? But it was good. I had such a blast. I'm so glad I went.
I am so thankful that you were there. What do you feel like made you have like even more belief? Like, was it the fact like just seeing people like in like more of like a real traditional setting, or was it just like knowing that we're all kind of the same? What do you feel like made you have more belief?
So I think the coolest part was hearing everyone's stories and their backgrounds, because I'm always just so focused on telling my story to someone, right? Like we share our story all the time, but no one ever shares their story with me. So it was cool to see how many different backgrounds we all come from, and everyone's different reason why they started and what they're pushing for. And same with like the goals. Like Amanda, you were like, "Oh, I want to do my kitchen." Girlfriend, if you saw my kitchen right now, I want to do mine too. Like that is not a small goal. That is a big goal for me too. But it's awesome just to see everyone come together. We're all chasing the same thing, but in our own lives. So that was super motivating to me. Just we're all going after the same goal. They're just different goals.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. That's so good. Okay, Anna, I'm calling on you because I want to hear your aha moment. You were such a trooper and were preggo and came on the trip and
You got
dealt
my
with.
heart beating over here.
I done disappeared to a different room.
I told you I was gonna call on you. You were like, let me go turn on my video now. um, but I want to know like what your biggest takeaway was from this weekend.
God, there is so much. It's crazy. Ugh, I don't like being put on the spot. The community, really, because it's different whenever you're on Zooms, whenever you're messaging people, because like I think it was Tara who said like sometimes you get intimidated to message the people because of their rank, because of who you think they are, who you see that they are. But whenever you're there, especially like those late nights, Friday night and Saturday night were my favorite because sorry, my camera messes up.
You're good.
Okay. You see a whole different side of people. Like me and you even got to connect. We've talked here and there. I met you at my first conference, but I never connected with you on a personal level. Even with Erin being my upline, I never got to connect with her too much on a personal level of other than asking her a few questions here and there, just for like a little bit of advice. But being there with everybody, it was, I can't even describe it. It was amazing.
I love that so much. What do you feel like? Okay, so you probably had like some fears going into it of like, I don't know how these people are gonna be. What if they're just total, what's like, what if they're not like everything that I thought or whatever? You have all these thoughts running through your head. What would you say to yourself now? Knowing what you know, like what would you, if you had to go back and say something to yourself before you came, what would it be?
You don't know what happened that
Stop. I'm on a Zoom. Stop being scared of the unknown. Stop being scared of the unknown.
That's good.
Being in this community is something completely different from who I was 3 years ago, even 5 years ago. I would have never been in a room with 30 plus women. Like that's just, I didn't get along with women before. And now like the community that I have, it's so good to have. And especially with it not being, it's mostly people who I would have never known if it wasn't because of this. Like it's definitely not people who I have back here in town. Like I have a couple people who are on my team who are in the same city as me, same town. But as far as like different friends that I've grown up with, like they still sit on the sidelines and watch me, and just like they're waiting for me to tell about it, but they're still watching. And I get to have people who believe in the same dreams that I have, believe in me more than I believe in myself. And that is something I never had before, other than family.
I love that. That's so good. Like I totally relate to that. I feel like I always tell people like I didn't get along with girls, but it's much different when you're dealing. It's much different. It's much different when you're dealing with women and women with dreams and women who are secure and women who empower you and encourage you and uplift you and support you, right? Like those, we're not talking about girls. We're talking about grown, powerful women. And so I love that. So thank you so much for sharing. Sorry for putting you on the spot. I love you.
I gotta say goodnight prayers now. Be right back.
Bye. Okay, Tay, tell me about your experience. You're more of like a veteran for these events, you're like the grandma coming along, a very cute grandma, but understanding what was your biggest takeaway from this weekend?
Oh my goodness. I know I like to call myself a dinosaur. Not grandma. Okay. Dinosaur. No, this one was so different. I feel like, and I love that every single one that we host or that we attend, like it's just so different. And there's always like different people there, which I think is super inspiring. But this one, I felt like my biggest takeaway was just like hearing people's stories and hearing people's dreams, because I feel like for me, it almost just inspired me to like want to go change more lives. Like hearing all of these people's dreams and goals and of like where they're at and like where they want to be, it's like, dang, like how many more people out there have those deep inside that like need us to go find them, to give them this opportunity. And so for me, it made me like super hungry to go find new people, just through like being inspired, hearing everyone's stories and their goals. But one thing from the event that I really took away, that is fresh in my mind, is whenever Cindy did her devotional, and she was just talking about how we are constantly so just like, it's a priority for us to keep our phone plugged in, right? Like we are constantly keeping our phone plugged in. Like there is a power source in every room. We have our charger with us in our car, in our room, in our kitchen, in our office. Like we're always keeping our phone plugged in to the power source. But like, what if we were that plugged into like Jesus and like his power source? Because that's where like our faith comes from. That's where our success lies. Like that's where everything comes from. But so often we put that on the back burner and like we don't even like plug into that some days, or we just kind of push it aside. And so that was just kind of a really fresh reminder to like just get back into, you know, doing my devotionals in the morning and like spending that intentional time plugging into that source, because I know that that's what's been missing from my life, because it's like I'm busy here and I'm doing this, and it's like that kind of gets shoved off out of my schedule if I don't plan for it. So that was just something refreshing for me to be like, oh, okay, need to get back on that, like need to make that a priority again. So that was really good.
Sorry, I couldn't press the unmute, the unmute button. But I love that. And I think one of the things that I took away, like one of my favorite things was the Friday night, like when Nicole Crank spoke, and when she was talking about it's not your job. I don't even know if she said this, but somebody said this. It's not your job to do the miracle. Your job is to believe, right? And I thought that was so profound. Like it's your job to believe in God for the miracle, right? Like it's not your job to do the miracle. And I think so often we think that we have to do everything, and it's like we have to believe and then just put our hands and feet to it and do the best we can with what we have right now. And it doesn't always have to be this like major thing. It can just be doing your freaking 6 list. It could be doing like these little small things that might feel insignificant that add up to big things, right? And so I think that that's such just a good reminder. And I love that, because I love that our company is like centered around that. So what would you say was like one of your favorite aspects, or something that we did, or something that like you want to do again for the next event?
Honestly, like just having people go around and share their dreams, because for me, like the dream that I thought of was something that isn't even on my dream board. And it was something that, because I was like forced to sit there and like think about a big dream that I have, it was something that like came from my heart that I didn't even realize that I had. And so definitely that part of it, because I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but it just like that popped into my head and my heart while we were just sitting there in that circle. And so it was just cool to have that new dream like come to life, because we were just sitting there like dreaming together.
Yes, I love that. I'm going to open it up for a second to anybody who wants to share their takeaways. I saw Elizabeth on here a little bit ago, and I want to know what your takeaway is, Elizabeth. And anybody else who wants to share from this weekend, because I know, and Kayla, I see you, and the other Tara. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey,
What's up, sister?
oh goodness. You guys, you ladies, every one of you inspired me in some form or fashion. I wish I was as amazing and so far ahead of the game in my 20s and 30s as you guys are. You guys are rock stars. You're amazing. You inspired me. And I'm just ready to go. I'm just ready to go. Tara and I on the way home, we got a plan set, we're working it, and I can't wait for whatever's next, whatever it is. I was never a dreamer until this business. And I just started it. I just wanted to make my husband's truck payment. I wanted to get him a new truck, make payment. And within 6 weeks, I'm dreaming. It's like, okay, my dream now is we're retiring. You know, we're done with this nonsense. We're retiring, you know. That's my dream now. You know, so in just a few months, I've had a huge shift. And people that know me very well, they're like, what are you doing? You are so different. You're so positive. You're so, it's just like a light switch has been turned on for me. So, but I love you all. I can't wait to see you again.
That was so good. It's so powerful. I'm so proud of you. I know it's terrifying sometimes to even say your dreams out loud. And so that's so powerful. And I am so proud of you because I just like feel like, I don't know, you're just so awesome. And I loved having you there. Your presence was just so important. I mean, it's so crazy. Like the retreat wouldn't have been the same if not one of those people
Right.
weren't there, wouldn't have been the same retreat, right? So like it was such a perfect group of people that intentionally chose to be there. It wasn't on accident. You know, everybody sacrificed something to be there. Everybody gave up something to be there. And they got something back out of it. And that's what an investment is. But you have to put something in first before you get something back out. So I'm just proud of all of you guys who did show up. Okay, Tara Baker, I'm calling you out, sister. Unmute yourself.
Hey.
Hi. Really, it's just because I miss everybody, so I'm going to make everybody talk.
You're too
I miss
funny.
everybody. Okay, tell everybody about what your biggest takeaway was, an aha moment, and what's the importance of getting to these events.
Oh my gosh, like it was just so incredible just to meet everyone and to get face to face and to sit down, to hear your dreams, to see your faces, to get to know you, like even outside of like business things, just to get to know you and who you are and your kids' names and their ages. Like it was just so great to get one-on-one and to get so personal with you. And I just think some of my aha moments, I mean, there's just so many, but really just knowing that you're not the only one in this. We are all in this together. We're dreaming together. We're excited. We're supporting each other. Like you guys, the vibes of this team and the support that we have for one another is just off the charts. And like, I am so pumped up. I am so excited. And I just can't wait to see where we all go from this. I just know at the next events, when we're all sitting there together, we're just going to be like, girl, you made it happen. So I am just so pumped up. And events are huge, you guys. Like, I think I've said it to some of you, this is my second time in the business, but events are so big and they will just like fuel your soul and fill your cup and just get you going for like the next season. So I just really feel like this event just got me so jazzed up and so excited. Is jazzed up a word? I don't even know. But like I'm just so jazzed up and excited like for what is coming this fall and leading into January. So I am ready and we've got a plan. Like Elizabeth was saying, we were in the car for 9 hours. So we had lots of time to connect and to talk and just to hear her excitement just really, added fuel to my fire as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love you. Thank you for sharing. I think it's so freaking awesome to like see how it's just all so connected and everybody got something from it. And like you said, showing up at the next event as like, this is what I did since we last met, just is so cool to be able to do. Okay, Kayla, I'm gonna call on you, sister. Share your aha moments and your kind of like what your fears were before coming into this weekend as well.
Sorry, I didn't know if I was supposed to unmute it myself. So my aha moments were to honestly, when they kept speaking about hard things happening in your life and then still working and keep never like keep working through those hard times, because whatever you get at the end of that, you'll get to your goal and something like that. But it was like I wrote her name down, Amanda Yinzer, I believe, is that her name? That stuck with me like for the rest of the time being there, because just to go through traumatic like things like that and still reach your goal, lets me know that just because I go through a rock bottom doesn't mean that I need to put my dreams and everything on hold. So that was like the biggest thing that stood out to me, and that's why I like kind of got quiet on my own and like start thinking about my dreams way bigger. So that was the biggest thing that stuck out to me. Because I mean, like I said, I've had like a couple of things happen, but I let that make me, sit back and stop interacting on social media. So that's the biggest thing. Um, Also, I have never been around that many women a day in my life. And it was so many personalities, but if you think about it, it was so many personalities that were actually the same personalities, if that makes sense. I've never been in an environment with 32 women, literally, that can laugh the whole time, encourage each other the whole time, and just feel like an overall family. That was very different for me. And I was like the most comfortable ever, to the point where I'm like using the bathroom in front of these girls. So I'm like, this was just a great experience. And it like encouraged me to like get pumped for when I get home. So like I've just been thinking about like my page, how I'm gonna read like, go about everything, and just hearing everybody's story and how they were there and now they're here. Like I'm just excited for like the next one, to where I'm able to share like the goals that I've reached and like how much I've grown, and like just look at me from then, and for me look at me from where I was before and where I'm going to be later on. Like I said, I manifest a lot, and that just helped me, because you can't manifest and you're not working towards your goal. That's like different. So you have to manifest and actually work. So that just helped me to, work harder and keep manifesting everything. So it just was a great experience. This was my first time doing it, and I've only been in it for like a year or so. Um, but I want to also say, if it wasn't for, great leadership and a great encouragement, I probably would not have still been in it. So I did want to give a shout out to Courtney one more time, because she literally on the car ride there to Tennessee made me feel like so comfortable. And then when we met up with Kelsey, she made me feel so comfortable, because I felt like I've known like you both like for years and I didn't. Like I literally just met you both. And so I feel like everybody made me feel so comfortable, and they were just themselves and like very true to themselves the whole time. And nobody makes you feel like uncomfortable in the environment. And yeah, and you guys helped me overcome bear fears, because knowing me, I never do. I would never go outside. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this. I guess I'll take a picture. So yeah, it
That's
just
so
was
awesome.
refreshing.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yep.
And I just want to end on this. We're ending the month. We're the last week of the month. And I think it can feel like we need a new month to start over. We need to wait until October 1st to make that start. But the reality is we don't. You just start now. Just start today, because I think that people are always like trying to find like, what's my purpose, or what's my place in this business, or what's this, or what's that. And it's like, do y'all think that I was passionate about products I had never tried, a business I had never done before when I first started? No, but you know what made me passionate about it was my progress. Once I started seeing the progress from the products and from the business, I started to become passionate about it. It's not the other way around. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted and think, oh, well, I have to be passionate about it before I'm going to see progress. No, bro, it doesn't happen like that. You see progress, and the progress is what makes you passionate about it. Right? And I think that that's something that we have to kind of change our mindsets on. So start allowing yourself to become passionate. Your passion doesn't die. Like, it's not like you lost your passion. You stopped making progress. Right? You stop making progress. So understand that passion is going to come when your progress continues. Right? But think of your small accomplishments as like, you know, when you start like a little bonfire, you don't start by like lighting a big log. You collect some of like that little tiny, like, I don't know, like it looks like burnt hair, right? Well, I think it's called like witch's hair or something. But like you collect some of that, right? And a small pile of hay or some dead dry grass, right? And then you light that small thing, and then you add bigger sticks and bigger sticks. And before you feed your tree stump into the blaze, like you do all of those other things, because it's the small spark that starts the small fires and then eventually builds enough heat to burn the whole freaking forest down, right? And so you have to be able to start small. Stop thinking that you have to like start with this big thing, like I'm going diamond in like one day. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. But what you're going to do is you're going to be consistent today, and you're going to start with today, and then you're going to build on that. You're going to do it again tomorrow. And then you're going to realize that like, that's what happens, is it's just day after day after day after day. And then you have this whole freaking fire. And so if you are struggling, think of some past things that you're proud of yourself for to fuel you into getting started again. Because in the heat of the battle, when crap gets real and you remind yourself of all the great things you've accomplished, it's awesome. And it's not to make you feel good. It's to remind you of the BA that you are, so you can use that energy when you need it, right? Stop worrying about everyone else. In order for you to promote, you have to be solid, right? And I think that one of the things that we have to remember is it starts with the small stick. It just starts with the small stick, and just start building your fire and staying in your lane. But what happens is we start building it, and we have this little pile of like witch's hair, whatever the crap. It's probably not even called that. I think I made that up. Is that a real thing? If it's not, somebody can correct me. But anyways, you have this pile of witch's hair, and you're like, okay, I have this pile, and you're like, F this, my fire is not big enough. So then you go on and you start again over here, building another fire. And you're still with a pile of witch's hair. And then you're going and you're like, F this isn't working either. So then you go to the next spot. Instead of just building and fueling the momentum on that same fire. Because what if you were to put all the energy and all the effort into that? That's where you can really see progress. Because nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect, right? It's just going to be the way that you build, you know, that's just how it is. Just, you have to decide, this is what I'm doing. And the decision isn't a one-time decision. It's not a one-time decision. It's a decision you make every single day. You made the decision to start the business. That's one decision. But today when you woke up, you made the decision to work your business. And then tomorrow when you wake up, you'll make the decision again to work your business, right? You keep making those decisions, but that's what builds the fire. So keep chopping the wood, keep throwing the sticks on, and keep doing your thing, finding the dang witch's hair or whatever it's called, but whatever it is, just go find it and go do it. And don't get so caught up in the results, because the fire will come if you just keep throwing the sticks on. But it's not going to come by starting new fires and just starting like these little piles. Because if you put all of your energy into this, I promise your fire will be a lot bigger than you could ever expect it. Does anybody else want to add anything before I close this out in prayer? Okay. I love you guys. Dear Jesus, I just want to say thank you so much for this amazing group of women. I want to say thank you for just allowing us to connect, for the divine appointments that it took to create the exact formulation and group of women that were there this weekend. I just ask that you put it on people's hearts that they make a decision tonight, if they weren't there, that they will be at the next one, that they make that decision that they're going to be at the next one, come hell or high water, that they will be at the next event. And even if they were there, that they decide right now too that they will be at the next one, that this one was so impactful, that the investment they made in themselves was so well worth it, because not only did they come back better for their business, they came back better for their family. They came back better for every single person around them. And I thank you for the ability that you have to touch each person individually and give them exactly what they need with where they're at. Lord, I hope that you help us see people the way you see people. I hope that you help give people encouragement and love and support, and that we are able to just be conduits of your love and your mercy and your grace. We know that we're not perfect, and we're so grateful that we don't need to be. We're so grateful that not being perfect is actually the exact recipe of the people that you use to make big impact and to change big lives. And we're thankful for who you are, and we're so excited to see how you move, not just for us to have success, but for your kingdom to have success, because it's never been about us, and we don't want to make it about us, because we know as quickly as you can give something is as quickly as you can take it away. And we are hoping and expectant for big things coming for your glory. We ask all of this in your name. Amen. I love you guys. I hope you know how much you are loved and valued. And just know that if you weren't there, you were missed. And if you were there, that God put you there for a reason. And I can't wait to see what happens. So love you guys. I'll see you next Monday.